Hi, Nick Robinson here. This is the third video in my series, Overcoming the 7 Self-Limits. I'm going to say a little bit more about the program itself and then introduce each of the 7 self-limits in turn, just briefly. Now, the point of this program is to help deal with things like procrastination, imposter syndrome, those confidence dips, kind of self-sabotage that stops us in our tracks, and those massive overreactions we sometimes get when we're facing a big challenge at work. Please make sure you hit like and subscribe or follow me to make sure that you don't miss an episode in this program. And from April 2023, I'll be leading a group coaching course, which you can take if you want to go a little bit further. Please look out for the sign-up links to that program too. So here are the 7 self-limits. All of those things come from a collection of mental self-limits that put unconscious restrictions on what we say and how we behave. Those self-limits are like a double check on what we might do, or like an emergency brake on what we might accidentally say. And most of the time they're useful. They stop us from taking on too much, they keep us from looking stupid, and they make sure we don't get rejected by the people who are important to us. They're essentially about keeping us safe. But the problem is that this process doesn't always work out the way it should. And that's because the only way to really stay safe is to always stay right in the middle of our comfort zones, to take no risks, to try nothing new, to be best friends with everyone. And staying smack in the middle of our comfort zones either leads to stagnation or it turns out to be risky anyway as the world changes around us. If we're not aware that the self-limits are restricting our behaviours, we can stay frozen when we should be acting decisively, or jump in way too aggressively when we should be more measured. And the only way to be free of that is to practice being conscious of what's going on and then to actively choose what we want to do about it. I want to say for now, don't worry about getting these right. For example, you may find you have a self-criticism, but then discover later on that you're not sure if it's actually a self-doubt. Don't worry about getting those kind of distinctions right. In the program, we'll do enough practice for you to be able to tell. Instead, use each of the 7 as a prompt, so you can practice taking back control wherever and whenever this kind of limit arises. Now, I mentioned about staying safe and in our comfort zones. And that's what these self-limits are for. And they'll always try and keep you in that zone, even when it actually starts to constrict. For that reason, you might find your self-limits trying to spoil your efforts here. This kind of program is quite challenging to our unconscious minds. It understands we might be about to make a change in things. And it doesn't like change. It wants to keep us safe and static. So, for example, you might have a self-doubt about your own ability to use this kind of program. You might hear yourself saying, "Oh, I won't be able to do this. That's not the kind of thing I can tackle." Or you might even have an exaggeration of some kind and find yourself saying, "Oh, this kind of program never ever works for me. It's just not the kind of thing I can do." Look out for those self-limits about this kind of program and that kind of developmental work in general. And just keep raising your awareness of that process. In the next video, I'm going to talk briefly through each of the 7 self-limits, and then we'll tackle them in more depth in the program. My name is Nick Robinson, and I help people to deal with demanding situations at work. Please remember to like, subscribe, and to follow this series, and to look out for the sign-up link to my group coaching course if you want to go further. See you next time.